Welcome back to the channel. Kevin Costner, the big screen legend, has just made some shocking moves that have left fans in awe. From unexpected career turns to never-before-revealed personal secrets, this actor is making waves in the entertainment industry. Are you curious about what is surprising the world? Let's find out in this video. Kevin Costner, a name that is all too familiar on the big screen and an icon for many generations, is making fans restless with recent, shocking information. From bold decisions in his career to his personal life, it seems like everything is very hot around this veteran actor. So in the end, what is really happening that is shocking fans so much? Hey guys, what do you think about the latest news about Kevin Costner that surprised fans? Comment below. If you're a longtime fan of his, leave a 1. If you've never seen a Kevin Costner movie, leave a 0. Don't forget to enjoy the video and hit the subscribe button to support me. I'll have more exciting news coming soon. Kevin Costner bet everything on his dream movie. He mortgaged his beach house to finance it. His accountant begged him not to spend $38 million of his own money. He didn't listen. The first film flopped, grossing less than he had invested. Now he's struggling to finish the sequels. He's selling stuff and transferring money. Friends say he's winging it and praying. Right now, Kevin Costner is stuck in a nightmare. And here's what it really looks like. Kevin Costner was born in 1955 in a small California town called Linwood. His parents weren't rich or famous. His dad was a ditch digger before becoming a utility worker, and his mom worked in welfare. A tragedy struck the family before Kevin was born. His middle brother died at birth. Only Kevin and his older brother Dan remained. His family had German, English, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, and even Cherokee roots. They were devout Baptists, and life was simple, even sometimes difficult. No one looking at that quiet boy back then could have guessed that he would one day become one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Kevin's childhood was unstable. His family moved around a lot because of his father's job. He was always the new kid moving from school to school in towns like Compton, Ventura, and Visalia. Making friends wasn't easy. It made him shy and unsure of himself. But instead of giving up, he started dreaming. He found comfort in music and poetry. He sang in the church choir and continued writing poems quietly, never showing them to anyone. School didn't leave much of an impression, but something else did. When he was 7, he saw the movie How the West Was Won. It had a profound impact on him. There was something about the wide-open frontier, the rawness of it all, that stayed with him. That movie planted a seed that he didn't even know would grow into the stories he would one day bring to the screen. At first, though, Kevin had a very different kind of anxiety. When he finished high school, he was only 5'2". He was small and he was worried about it. He once asked his mother if he would ever grow up, and she simply told him, "I swear you will, baby." She was right. Over the next few years, he grew 11 inches, reaching 6'1". Doctors call it catch-up growth, and it's rare. But even before he grew taller, he was strong. He played basketball, football, and baseball in high school, holding his own against much older kids. One of his baseball teammates, Dennis Burt, even went on to play professionally. Kevin never became a star athlete, but that strength, that fight in him never left. Shortly after graduating in 1973, Kevin did something daring. Obsessed with the Lewis and Clark expedition, he decided to follow in their footsteps. He built a canoe by hand. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. He loaded it onto a beat-up old truck and set out alone. He rafted rivers and camped in the wilderness reading Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee Under the Stars. That book broke him. It told the painful truths of Native Americans and left an impression on him. What do you think of Kevin Costner's acting in recent movies? If you think he's good, leave a 2. If you're not impressed, leave a 5. Don't forget to watch the whole video and click subscribe to support me. I have more exciting news waiting for you. Night after night, he cried as he read it. That trip was more than just history. It changed the way he saw the world. It shaped the way he would tell stories in the future, especially in films like Dances with Wolves. That summer made him a person who cared deeply about the past and spoke up for those who had been silenced. A few years later, something happened that most people wouldn't believe unless it was written in a movie script. In 1978, Kevin was newly married and flying back from Mexico with his new wife. Sitting on the same flight was none other than Richard Burton, one of the greatest actors of all time. Burton had bought all the seats around him, but Kevin walked over, waited quietly, and asked if he could talk for a moment. When Burton opened his eyes, Kevin told him something he hadn't even told his wife. He wanted to act, but he didn't want a dramatic life. Burton looked at him and said, "You have green eyes. I have green eyes. I think you'll be fine." That brief, strange moment stayed with Kevin. When their plane landed, Burton's limousine pulled up next to Kevin and his wife, who were waiting for a shuttle bus. Burton rolled down the window and told him, "Good luck." That was it. That moment changed everything. Kevin quit his marketing job after just a month. He began taking acting lessons every night and doing odd jobs to make money, driving a truck, working on a fishing boat, even giving a tour bus tour of celebrity homes. He wasn't famous, but something inside him lit up. He had no money, no connections, and no clear path. But he had something more important than all of that. He had faith. Kevin Costner didn't start his career with red carpets and big checks. His career began with a movie he later wished never existed. Back in the late 1970s, he was broke and desperate. He took a role in a low-budget movie called Sizzle Beach, USA. It wasn't until 1981 that the film was released, and by then Costner had regrets. The film had elements of softness, and while filming one of the film's intimate scenes, Costner felt something inside him break. He decided right then and there that he would never do anything like that again, no matter how long it took him to get a real job. That decision came with a price. For nearly 6 years, he barely worked, making ends meet with odd jobs and side hustles. He even tried to buy the rights to the film back then so no one would see it. But the distributor refused and re-released the film after he became famous, using his name to sell tickets. He got a few roles, but nothing changed his life. In The Big Chill, he was cast as a man who committed suicide. The death of his character was the reason the others reunited. He shot all the flashbacks, the emotional, powerful ones. Then the director cut it all. Every scene was gone. The only thing left was the opening shot of his dead body. Just a face. No dialogue, no credit. It was supposed to be his big break. Instead, it was another door slammed in his face. So he kept trying a supporting role in Frances, a forgettable face, in an Apple Lisa commercial, a few other small films that no one saw. He was technically working, but he wasn't moving. Casting directors didn't remember his name. He felt invisible. He later said it felt like he was the new kid at school every day. His family moved around a lot when he was young, and that sense of loneliness followed him to Hollywood. Still, he kept going. He dreamed. He waited. Then the phone rang. It was Lawrence Kasdan, the same director who had cut him off from the great cold that felt so guilty. He remembered how good Costner was, even if no one else got to see it. So he gave him another chance, a real chance. He offered him a role in Silverado. Not just any role, but a role that would finally let Costner show what he could do. It worked. Costner was charming, funny, and energetic. People noticed. For the first time, they remembered him. That movie opened a lot of doors. One of those doors led to The Untouchables in 1987. Big budget, big name, and somehow Costner landed the lead role. He wasn't the studio's first choice. Not even close. Harrison Ford passed. So did Mel Gibson and Jack Nicholson. But Steven Spielberg, who had worked with Costner before, bailed on him. He told the director, "This guy's going somewhere." And he was right. Costner starred opposite Robert De Niro and Sean Connery, and he made it on his own. The film grossed over $100 million. Suddenly, Costner was no longer a struggling actor. He was a star, but he didn't stop to celebrate. His next move was Bull Durham, and he didn't just want to act. He wanted it to be authentic. He let the director watch him play baseball before filming. He showed up. He hit from both sides of the plate. He threw. He ran. He proved he could do it. Then he carried the movie. The studios didn't believe a baseball movie could sell. Costner helped prove them wrong. The movie grossed over $50 million, and critics loved it. A year later, he made Field of Dreams, a quiet, eerie film about a farmer who hears voices in a cornfield. "If you build it, they will come." That quote became part of American culture. The film grossed nearly $85 million. It was nominated for an Oscar. People still quote it to this day. It didn't just make money, it made memories. By 1990, Costner wanted more than acting. He founded TIG Productions to make films he believed in. The first was Dances with Wolves. The studio said it was too long, too risky, too weird. They told him to cut the Native American language scenes. He said no. They told him to cut the budget. He said no. He put his own money into it, millions of dollars. It could have ruined him. Instead, the film won 7 Oscars and grossed over $400 million. He kept going. He made Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. Another gamble, another success. Over $400 million at the box office, and the soundtrack became the best-selling soundtrack of all time. Years later, when no one believed in a project called Horizon, he did it again. He mortgaged his dream house to finance the project. Same mindset, same risk, same heart, same reason. Because Kevin Costner doesn't wait for permission to tell a story, he just builds it. Kevin Costner doesn't just act, he goes all in. For Dances with Wolves, he spent 9 months learning the Lakota Sioux language, not just a few words here and there. He actually worked with Native American consultants and demanded that nearly a third of the film be in authentic Lakota. That bold move made studios nervous. 2 of them turned the film down, but Orion Pictures took the risk. Costner brought in Doris Leader-Charge, a 60-year-old Lakota teacher who translated the script and coached the entire cast for 6 months. She said she made more money in that half year than she ever did, teaching on the Rosebud Reservation. But even with all that hard work, some Native viewers still laughed at the film. Russell Means, an Oglala Lakota activist, pointed out that many of the male characters, including Costner, speak a female version of Lakota. However, it was one of the first times a Hollywood film had devoted so much screen time to a native language, and people noticed. When Dances with Wolves won the Oscar in 1991, it took Hollywood by storm. On March 25th, in front of nearly 43 million viewers, the film won 7 Oscars out of 12 nominations. Costner won Best Director, only the 5th person ever to win the award for a debut film, and was also nominated for Best Actor. The film beat out Scorsese's Goodfellas, and many critics still debate whether that was fair. But the Academy clearly preferred the sprawling frontier epic to the mafia classic. When Costner stood on stage holding his Oscar, he admitted he didn't believe himself. But the results were undeniable. Dances with Wolves became the first Western to win Best Picture in 60 years. Costner hasn't slowed down. Just days after finishing Dances with Wolves, he was cast in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He barely had time to rest. His schedule was so tight that he skipped stuntmen and did most of his own action scenes. He scaled castle walls, jumped over hills, and even injured his shoulder doing so. One crazy stunt involved hurling himself over a 10-meter wall with a catapult. That meant calculating physics down to the kilogram, requiring around 5,000 kilos of force to get it right. One day on set in France, a stuntman suggested going for magic mushrooms between takes. Costner laughed it off, especially since they had a sword fight coming up. "Nick, are you eating mushrooms? We're swinging swords in an hour," he said. Meanwhile, planes continued to roar overhead from Heathrow Airport, ruining shots and forcing them to redo the grueling castle climb over and over again. Then came JFK. It wasn't just another role, it was a battle. Corner plays Jim Garrison, the New Orleans DA who believes there's a conspiracy behind Kennedy's death. Director Oliver Stone didn't hold back. The film hinted that the CIA, FBI, military, and even the vice president may have been involved. It caused a firestorm months before its release. Journalists, historians, and government officials called it dangerous. But Costner didn't back down. He told Time magazine that even asking these questions was liberating. "Any discussion of what might be true can only make us more free," he said. His performance wasn't about proving Garrison right. It was about making the audience take him seriously. And it worked. After the film came out in December 1991, the U.S. government passed a law in 1992 to release secret files about the JFK assassination to the public. But perhaps Costner's smartest career move came in 1992 with The Bodyguard. He could have taken a $10 million salary up front. Instead, he gambled on the film's success and asked for a percentage of the profits. He also waited a year for Whitney Houston's schedule to align because he knew she was perfect for the role. And he was right. The film opened on November 25, 1992, the same day as Disney's Aladdin, and grossed $16.6 million in its first weekend. It went on to gross $410.9 million worldwide. In Japan alone, it grossed over $21 million, making it Warner Brothers' highest-grossing film there. Costner's box office receipts and soundtrack royalties totaled over $20 million, possibly as much as $30 million. The soundtrack, which featured Houston's legendary version of "I Will Always Love You," sold more than $50 million. The film won Album of the Year at the Grammys. Costner's bet paid off twice, once in money and once in legacy. Kevin Costner was Hollywood royalty. But in 1994, things started to fall apart. It all started with Waterworld, a film that was supposed to be his big blockbuster. Instead, it turned into a nightmare. A hurricane hit the Hawaii set in the middle of filming. Not only was it a rainstorm, it wiped out a $5 million floating set, and that wasn't even the most expensive set. The main set, called an atoll, cost $22 million, stretched a quarter-mile long, and weighed more than 1,000 tons. They had to ship steel from California because Hawaii was out. People nearly drowned. His co-stars were thrown off the boat. Costner nearly died from being tied to the mast. The stunt coordinator developed compression sickness and had to be airlifted to the hospital. The budget ballooned. It started at $65 million, then it went to $100 million, then $135 million, and finally $175 million. Add $60 million for marketing, and it turned into a $235 million gamble. In 1995, that was unheard of. Independence Day cost just $75 million. People started calling it fish tar and Kevin's Gate. Although it later made money on home video, the damage was done. He was no longer just a movie star. He was a joke. Then there was the play with the director. Kevin Reynolds, his friend and partner on Robin Hood, quit after 133 miserable days. He left with a cruel statement. Kevin should direct himself. And that's exactly what Costner did. He finished the film alone. At the same time, his 16-year marriage ended. Some said his personal pain spilled over into his behavior on set. The tabloids ate up that. Worse, a story broke that Costner wanted digital hair added to cover his bald head. He denied it called names and said he never worked while high or drunk. But the rumors persisted. People made fun of him. They said he was vain. They said he was difficult. It became part of the diva label that he couldn't escape. Two years later, he tried again with The Postman. It was even worse. The film won Raz for Worst Picture, Worst Actor, and Worst Director. He won every category he was nominated for. That had never happened before. By 1998, the critics weren't just bored with him. They wanted him gone, but he didn't give up. In 2003, he returned with A Wild West. No explosions, no gimmicks, just an old Western with heart. He directed it himself and starred alongside Robert Duvall. The film cost $26 million and grossed over $68 million worldwide. He bet on himself, and it paid off. Then in 2007, he blew everyone away. In Mr. Brooks, he played a serial killer. Not a cowboy, not a hero, but a killer hiding behind a perfect smile. It was dark. It was scary. And it was one of the best things he ever did. He used the good guy image to scare you. It worked. By 2012, he had won an Emmy. Hatfield's and McCoy's was intense, violent, and real. Corner almost didn't get the part. He said no 3 times. But when he said no, the results were magical. More than 14 million people watched the premiere. He won Best Actor and reminded Hollywood why they loved him in the first place. And he kept going. In 2016, while filming Hidden Figures, he suffered from severe kidney stones. He had to take morphine to get through the pain. He didn't take a day off, not a single day. Even as the pain left bruises on his arms, he rolled up his sleeves and kept shooting. Then came Yellowstone. In 2017, Taylor Sheridan wanted Costner to play John Dutton. Costner wasn't sure. He agreed to only do 1 season with conditions, but after the show aired in 2018, it slowly became a huge hit. It wasn't a flashy show, it didn't win any major awards, but people loved it. In the first season, he was making $500,000 per episode. That alone was a huge paycheck. But as the show exploded in popularity, so did his pay. By season 5, he was making $1.3 million per episode. 14 episodes at that rate brought him $18.2 million. $2 million for one season. And that wasn't enough for him. In 2023, it was reported that he was asking for $1.5 million per episode. At the same time, he was deep into his dream project Horizon, an American series. This didn't sit well with the show's producers. Filming schedules clashed. What used to be an 8-week shoot turned into a 12-week commitment. Costner had planned Horizon during Yellowstone's off-season, but those off-seasons kept changing. It all fell apart in early 2023 when the producers offered him a split deal seasons 5A and 5B instead of the entire season. Costner refused. He moved on to Horizon. That option killed John Dutton, and not in a noble way. The mid-season premiere in November 2024 shocked fans. Dutton was found dead in his bathtub, a note nearby. At first, it appeared to be a suicide, but 2 episodes later, the truth was revealed. He had been murdered by 3 assassins sent by Sarah Atwood. They faked their suicide, left a fake note, and tried to make it all go away, but failed. The case turned out to be incongruous. A murder investigation began. Then Sarah Atwood herself was shot to death, shot twice in the head and chest during a reunion with Jaime. Costner didn't even know her final episode had aired until the next day. He admitted as much in an interview the next morning. "I heard it was a suicide," he said. "Doesn't make me want to go see it." He had offered 2 endings to Dutton. Neither of them were used. Instead, the show made its own decision, one that Costner publicly rejected. But while the rest of the cast was making $200,000 an episode, Costner made over $24 million in the final season, and the ratings even without him were record-breaking. 16.4 million people tuned in for the 5B premiere. That surpassed the 15.9 million who watched the 5A premiere 2 years earlier, and it all started with just 2.8 million people in Season 1. Costner's controversial departure from the show has raised questions about the future of the hit series. While many fans were familiar with his character, it's clear that the show's success isn't entirely dependent on his presence. The record-breaking viewership following his departure proves that. This shows that the appeal of the storyline and other characters is still strong enough to keep audiences coming back. Costner has moved on to the next part of his career. Horizon is more than just a movie. It's his obsession. He started writing it in 1988. He couldn't let it go, a passion project that has spanned decades. The project seems to be Costner's main focus, demonstrating his fierce dedication to telling stories on his own terms, unfettered by the constraints of television. After Open Range in 2003, he tried to pitch it to Disney, but they turned him down over a $5 million budget dispute. It languished for decades. Then in 2022, he finally found backing, but not without a price. He mortgaged his 10-acre beachfront property in Santa Barbara, the house he called his last home. He told his accountant he would invest $38 million of his own money in Horizon. The accountant was horrified. Costner didn't care. "It's my life," he said. "I believe in it." The budget for the first 2 chapters was $100 million. He personally funded more than a third. When Horizon Chapter 1 opens in Cannes on May 19, 2024, it's supposed to be his big return as a director after Dances with Wolves. But critics were divided. Some loved it, others didn't. Box office receipts didn't help. The film grossed just $38.7 million worldwide. That was less than Costner had spent, but he kept going. Chapter 2 premiered in Venice. Chapter 3 begins filming in May 2024. Chapter 4 is currently in development. This was no small undertaking. There were more than 170 speaking roles across 4 films. Chapter 1 alone featured names like Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, and Luke Wilson. Costner went all in. Even when the money ran out, he refused to back down. While his films were underperforming, his personal life was equally chaotic. His first marriage to Cindy Silva ended in 1994. He lost $80 million in the divorce. They had 3 children, no prenup. He later called it one of the worst times of his life, but by 2025, the two were said to be friends again. She even helped him through his next divorce, that from Christine Baumgartner. They had been married for 18 years. She filed on May 1, 2023. The news came as a surprise. This time, he had signed a prenuptial agreement, but the fight was brutal. She had to move out of his home. He was required to pay $63.29 a month in spousal support. By early 2025, she was engaged to an old friend of his, Josh Connor. There were rumors that Costner was planning to renegotiate the agreement after she remarried. And then there was the Yellowstone rumor mill. As soon as the divorce broke, wild stories began to circulate. One said he had impregnated a crew member on set. Another claimed he had walked out on filming. His team called it all nonsense. Still, the rumors persisted. The timing seemed designed to hurt him. In early 2025, Costner started dating again, but he had one rule. No Hollywood actresses. Insiders say he wants someone normal. His friends have tried to set him up. He acts like a man in his 20s. He doesn't want anything serious. It's not the right time. He's gone through the whole Hollywood cycle. Fame, marriage, scandal, divorce, and now freedom. Kevin Costner is 70 now. But instead of slowing down, he's accelerating. On May 26, 2025, Kevin Costner's new documentary series, The West, will premiere on the History Channel. It's not just one episode. It's a 2-episode special to kick off the 8-part series. Then another episode will air the following night before the show moves to its regular Monday time slot. This series is different. Not about cowboys with perfect teeth riding off into the sunset. It's about land conflicts and the stark truth about how the West was really won or stolen. Costner worked with Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Doris Carn Goodwin. Big names, big stories. And he's not just hosting, he's producing alongside Academy Award winners. This isn't a retirement project. This is a mission. But that's only part of what he's doing. Costner is still struggling to finish his 4-part Horizon series. The first chapter was a flop. It only made $38.7 million on a $100 million budget. It was a box office disaster. Warner Brothers got worried and postponed Chapter 2. But Costner didn't give up. At the Venice Film Festival, he admitted that the going has gotten tougher. "The rock is falling downhill again," he said. "But I have to put my hand on it again. That rock. That's Chapter 3. He spent $38 million of his own money. And now he's trying to find more to complete not just one film, but possibly Chapters 3 and 4 together by 2025. The odds were against him, but that only seemed to spur him on. "When I felt rejected, my desire grew," he said. To make all this happen, Costner didn't just write a script or yell action, he built something real. In February 2024, he announced a massive $100 million film studio in Utah, 500 acres. It's called Territory Film Studios. Roads, plumbing, electricity are all being built near the St. George Airport. Phase 1 includes a 39,000-square-foot warehouse that was used to film Horizon Chapter 3. Phase 2, coming soon, will add a 20,000-square-foot soundstage and office space. There's even talk of a Kevin Costner-themed restaurant. When all is said and done, the place could start with 30 full-time jobs and grow even larger if studios start leasing space. This isn't just about one movie. Costner is trying to build a legacy, but it's risky. Very risky. After Horizon Chapter 1 flopped, his finances took a hit. It only took in $11 million in its opening weekend. That's not even close to what was needed. Reports say he mortgaged his land in California, including his 10-acre ranch in Santa Barbara, to finance the film. Some say he ignored his accountant's warnings. Others say he's running out of time. By the end of 2024, those close to him were worried. He was selling things, moving money, trying to keep the dream alive. One source said he was living on prayer. If things didn't change, he could lose even more. Whatever the future holds for Kevin Costner and Horizon, he has demonstrated courage and passion. The fact that he is betting it all on himself is an inspiring story of chasing your dreams. We will see if the gamble pays off and how he overcomes this challenge. Don't forget to share your thoughts.